Hey there everybody, my name's Chelsea with Let's Talk. Today let's break down superlative adjectives. Alright, so take a look here at my friends Sam, Karen, and Max. We can see that Karen is taller than Sam and Sam is taller than Max. But when we use superlative adjectives, we can talk about the one thing that's the most or the least in a group. So in this sentence, I can say Karen is the tallest person. Right? There's no one taller than Karen. She's at the top. She's the most tall. She's the tallest. Or on the opposite end, Max is the shortest person. He's shorter than Sam, he's shorter than Karen, he's the least, he's the shortest person. Alright, how about my faces here? We've got happy, sad, and okay. So, clearly, number 1 is happier than number 2, and number 1 is happier than number 3, so that means number 1 is the happiest face. And what does that make number 2? Number 2 is sadder than number 1. Number 2 is sadder than number 3. So number 2 is the saddest face. So our words here in green are superlative adjectives. The tallest, the shortest, the happiest, the saddest. They let us talk about the most or the least in one group of something. So here we have this group of people, the tallest person, the shortest person. Here we've got one group of faces, the happiest face, the saddest face. When we use superlatives, we'll always use the, or we could also use a possessive adjective. I could say Karen is my tallest friend. So in my group of friends, she belongs to me, my tallest friend. So either the or a possessive adjective. So let's talk spelling. Just like comparative adjectives, we've got a bunch of different spelling rules, but they're the same categories as comparative adjectives. So if you can remember one, you can remember the other one. So let's see. Our first category is one syllable adjectives that end in CVC. Remember that. Consonant, vowel, consonant. So these are adjectives like fat or big. So to turn these into superlatives, we are going to double the last consonant, just like before with comparatives. Double the last consonant and add EST. Alright, so our first category is one syllable adjectives that end in CVC. Remember that? Consonant, vowel, consonant. So I'm going to use the same adjectives as last time. Fat and big are both consonant, vowel, consonant at the end of the word. So to turn these into superlative adjectives, we are going to double the last consonant and add est. est. So we go from fat to the fat, double the last one, est, the fattest. Big becomes the biggest. Okay, next category, one syllable adjectives that don't end in CVC. All right, so an adjective like short or cheap. So for these, we will just add est. Short becomes the shortest, and cheap, the cheapest. All right. Our next category, those adjectives that end in an E. Like loose and large. If they end in an E, all we're going to do is add st. Loose becomes the loosest. Large becomes the largest. All right, moving right along. One or two syllable adjectives that end in Y. Like happy and dry. For one or two syllable adjectives that end in Y, we are going to get rid of the Y and add iest. iest. So happy becomes the happiest. Dry becomes the driest. All right. So two syllable adjectives that don't end in Y, or three or more syllable adjectives. So just like our comparatives, we're not going to add an ending onto the words. Instead, we will use the most or the least. So if we have, again, suspenseful, move that over, even more, suspenseful, or exciting, we will just add the most suspenseful, the most suspenseful, or the least exciting. So no ending on the word, it all goes before. The most, the least. And finally, again, we have those irregular verbs. Same ones. Good, bad, much or many. Let's see what else was there. Little and fun. So for these, good becomes the best. Bad becomes the worst. Oh, don't forget your the best, the worst. Much or many becomes the most. Little becomes the least. And fun, like these guys, we'll say the most or the least fun. All right, so same categories as comparatives, really similar rules, but we have ST instead of R, and most or least instead of more or less. All right, so really quickly, just want to remind you the differences between comparatives and superlatives, all right? Comparatives, it's in the name, they compare two things. So you'll have two ideas in your sentence. And they'll always use an ER or more and than. You'll always see these in a comparative sentence. Superlatives only talk about one thing that is the most or least something. So you will not have the word than with your superlative adjectives. Okie dokie guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Chelsea. Down in the comments, tell me what is the best movie. Just reminding you, it's not nerdy being wordy. Let's talk again soon.